We, you and I, are about to get deep. Well, kind of. Well, yeah, we are. As you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about ways your home can help you fight your depression. Obviously, not cure your depression, but help it, or your sadness, or whatever it is you may be experiencing. If you watch my channel, I have mentioned over and over and over again how your home is super important for your mental health. But we're going to go a little deeper today. I'm actually going to share some more like personal things about depression. When I've dealt with depression, sadness, I feel pretty equipped to tell you my tips on ways you can feel better just through your home. And these are my personal experiences of what I've done in my home to, tweak the brain a little. It's important. We, as the Wassels, us Wassels, we're very deep emotional people. But all of us in my family, my mom, my dad, I have a younger sister, Teague, and my younger brother, Jack. We have all dealt with different forms of depression throughout our lives. My entire family is in therapy or has dabbled in and out of therapy. I personally dealt with a very situational depression. 2 years ago, I went through a pretty intense breakup. Actually, literally exactly 2 years ago when I'm filming this, because the day that Bob Saget died, this is actually kind of wild. The day that Bob Saget died is the day we broke up, me and my ex. And now I'm just reminded of it every year because someone will post like, oh, RIP Bob Saget. And I'm like, oh, that was the day. But anyways, the year leading up to my breakup, I slowly was slipping into a deep depression. And then it lingered about a year after that. But anyways, I've been on and off antidepressants through that time. I finally feel really good, but it took me a bit to get there. And actually that first year after my breakup, that whole first year, I didn't have a home and I was just kind of traveling around, staying at my parents'. I was subleasing places, and looking back on it, I'm like, I should have had a home. I should have gotten a space for myself, because I realize how much that affects your mental health when you don't have like a place to go home to, if that makes sense. A lot of people ask me about that first year, and I truly don't really remember much of it. I traveled a ton in Europe, and they're like, how was your trip? And I'm like, I honestly couldn't really tell you. My brain was gone, but I'm better now. I'm actually off medication now. I don't feel depressed, and it's kind of interesting even opening up about this. My sister, on the other hand, she deals with more clinical depression. It kind of goes in waves with seasons, I would say, but hers is a chemical imbalance in her brain that she has to be medicated for. But what I love about my family's approach to mental health is, A, it's not something to feel bad about. B, you should just always be in therapy, even when you're good. It's just good to have it if you can. And C, if you need to be medicated, be medicated. And D, I guess, you need to have a home or a space that is good for you mentally. It's actually wild how much emphasis my entire family puts on that. So anyways, now that you know more about my mental health state, which is kind of fun that you know, I guess, here are some things that I did. I lived alone. I moved into this place 1 year ago, and I've lived alone, and here is what I did to get me to where I am now. And I owe a lot of it to my space, truly. I live in a small little bungalow house that when I go to bed, I have to close all of my blinds, pretty much the entire living space and my bedroom. I close all of the blinds because, I don't know, you can like see into my windows, I guess, if you're walking by. So when I wake up, I call it opening up shop, where I go through my entire house. I put on some music, and usually I'll do this while I'm brushing my teeth. I open up shop, where I just am opening all of the blinds to let in some natural light. If it's nice out, I'll open a window. But I think it's super important immediately to get hit with some natural sunlight. I don't do anything else besides maybe taking a whiz. And then I close up shop at the end of the night, closing up shop. But I will say, if it's a pretty dreary day or if the mood just feels off, I will close up shop early sometimes. If it's just like rainy and like gross and depressing out, sometimes I'll close all of my blinds and create a mood within my space with lamps or candles or, dim lighting. and create a better environment, because I'm so affected mentally by my environment. If it's a gloomy day out, sometimes I'm like, I'd rather just have the blinds shut and I'll create a warm space here, you know? And then I will make my bed, because you have to make your bed. It's just important. And listen, there's an easy routine that you can take to do this that I have actually only recently implemented in this last year. When I was traveling in Europe after my little breakup, I noticed that a lot of Europeans don't have top sheets, and I like that. Obviously, you have to get a duvet cover that is made of sheet material, and then you have a fitted sheet, and you just wash the duvet cover and the fitted sheet when it's due time, but you don't need a top sheet. And if you struggle with making your bed every morning, eliminating the top sheet makes a huge difference, because it makes it so much easier to make your bed. Also, I think it's really important to make your bed even if you're going to lay in it. Let's say you wake up one morning and you're just like, I'm not getting out of bed today. Like, my depression has hit hard. I think it's still important to make your bed even if you're going to lay on it or in it. When I was kind of deep into my depression out here, I would wake up, make my bed, and then go get a quilt from my living room or a throw blanket and lay on my bed without getting under the covers. It just felt better knowing that I wasn't, staying in my sheets all day. I was just kind of, I'm lounging on the bed with a throw blanket. It just mentally, it clicks. It's the tricks. You got to trick your brain. Now we're going to touch on lighting. Obviously, I talk about lighting all of the time, how you need a million little lamps that have dimmers, and good warm toned lighting can help you feel cozy, and it lifts your mood. That's why a lot of people get salt lamps and other type of warming lamps that kind of show you what the sunrise feels like. It is very helpful mentally. And if a salt lamp isn't for you, which it is not for me, because aesthetically I don't like a salt lamp, but my sister has a salt lamp because they are proven to help, just get a nice amber bulb, or even just something sunrise toned can be super helpful. On top of that, get some dimmers, because if you want to close up shop early, let's say it's 3 p.m., it's a Saturday, you have no plans at night, close up shop, turn on your little lamp, dim it, create a nice little space for you to lay on your sofa. For me, when I'm depressed and sad, I at least know I want to be in an environment that doesn't contribute to it. Surrounding yourself with motivation to not feel that way is key. Don't let your space contribute to your sadness. And obviously, I'm going to touch base on candles. Very important to have candles lit. And I want to tell you a little trick of mine, because I light a candle all day long, especially during the time I was depressed and sad. And my sister can really back me up on this one, because she is the same. But we burn candles all day long. It is super helpful mentally to have a little fire glow. But having a candle lit when you're doing work next to your computer even helps stabilize your mood. It just helps it. It just gives it a little boost. And here's where my little tip comes in, because candles can get expensive. So I buy giant pillar candles, because then I don't feel bad about having it lit all day long. It's not really adding a scent to my home, which I don't need 24/7, but I get these giant pillar candles. You can literally thrift these at a Goodwill. There's always weird giant pillar candles at your local Salvation Army or whatever. You can also buy them on Amazon. I get these beeswax ones, and I put them on a little plate that I just take from my kitchen, and I burn it all day long. And that way you don't feel bad about having it burn all day long, because they're not expensive and they're huge. They're literally huge. So get a pillar candle, or have a candle closet, which is what I also have. I do not run out of candles. I always have a candle lit. I have a candle lit right now. I think small little happy reminders in hidden places in your space can be very helpful. For instance, I have a little piece of art in my bathroom cabinet. And again, I've talked about having, a little photo of your family maybe above your light switch. I think little reminders in hidden places are very helpful. Throw a little piece of art in, your kitchen cabinet. Adding in little pieces of memories or happiness in spaces that are a little more unexpected. For example, when I go to brush my teeth in the morning, I have a little art piece in the medicine cabinet. And I also have on the door song lyrics from a song called These Are the Days by 10,000 Maniacs. My dad actually printed it for me. He also keeps it on his mirror in their bathroom, in my parents' bathroom. Little hidden treasures to make you feel good. You know, it's kind of like keeping that picture of a loved one in your wallet, but do that throughout your house. When I first moved into this place, I didn't come with a lot of furniture. I got rid of a lot of stuff with my move out, and a lot of stuff that I did have, I don't know if I necessarily even loved as much anymore. And I think when people move into their homes, they will, you know, have things stacked aside. They're like, oh, I can't hang this piece of art until I get, you know, this console, or I can't have this until I do this. And I learned this approach from my mom, actually. She was really good at this. Basically, creating the home with what you have already and doing the most with it, basically. So when I first moved in here, I didn't have a coffee table. I did end up getting a couch, but I didn't have a coffee table. So I just used these crates that I had in my garage that I've used for like prop storage. And I flipped them upside down. I added some books to the top and some candles. And honestly, I lived like that for a while until I found a coffee table. I think creating little moments with what you already have in your space is important. Hang the piece of art, even if you don't necessarily like it there. I have a piece of art over my fireplace that I don't really love in that spot, but I'm not going to go buy a new piece of art just to buy one. So creating a space with what you already have is very key and allows you to be in a space that you like rather than living in like a place that doesn't feel finished. I still have stuff in my home that I want to replace. I have wicker baskets, 2 baskets stacked on top of each other as my side table in my bedroom. And it's been a year. I just haven't found the side table, and I'm not going to just not have one. So I just made a fake one. And I learned a lot of this from my mom, from when we would like move into our first, you know, college home or our dorm or my first apartment after college. She's really good at coming in and kind of just like playing. She'll unpack everything and play with what you already have in it. And and then just light a candle. And then you feel like you're in a space you like, even though the crates are your coffee table. The other week, I was at my friend Basma's house, and when I was there, she put me to the task of helping her rearrange a few things in her apartment. So we started in her kitchen, and I rearranged her entire shelving unit that had all of her like cool glassware. And then we went into her family room and rearranged her coffee table, and she was so happy about it because having someone else come into your space and rearrange your stuff feels so good. It shows you some new ways of organizing things. It shows you new ways of displaying some of your cool items. And your friend or whoever you bring into your space to do this doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, like good at interior design. I think just having someone come in, you know, maybe take apart a console table you have and have them put it back in a way that they would do it. It just does something in your brain of having, you know, something new in your space. It feels new. Maybe nothing's actually new, but it's been rearranged. So you're seeing different objects, you're seeing different things, and it helps. It makes you feel more organized. Sometimes you get stuck in your ways of how your space looks. Kate and I do this for each other all the time. When I lived in Chicago, when she would come and visit me, or vice versa, I would go and visit her, we would spend, you know, our morning when we were having coffee rearranging the home. I'd be like, what would you do different? Like, what looks off to you? Would you put this piece of art here? And we would always feel really good after just having someone come into your space and move some things around. Call up your friend. Gives you that interior design high, which when you're sad and depressed, a little natural high like that is key. It's a very good natural high, you know? You can't be like mad at feeling good from an art piece being switched. That's the kind of high that we want in life. That's exactly it. Basma also does this thing where she'll keep a stack of books in her home of the ones that she's read. And it could be all the way back from 5 years ago or whatever. But keeping a stack of your accomplishments visually in your home is really helpful, I think. For Basma, it was all of the books she read. But it could be really anything that is a reminder of something you have accomplished, maybe when you weren't going through such a hard time, or maybe when you had a few weeks of feeling good about yourself. I think it's really nice to keep a visual of all of the accomplishments you made during a time of feeling good about yourself. Again, these are all very little things, but all things you can do within your home. Hence why I'm making this video. I was chatting with Kate this morning, my very, very good friend who I'm always talking about. I never know whether I should always reiterate who she is or not. But anyways, I was talking with Kate and she went through a pretty rough time where she had 2 really major friend fallouts in her life. And it really, really, really affected her. It was pretty bad. And I was living in Chicago at the time. She was actually here in Los Angeles. She was living in a studio at this time in Los Angeles, in Koreatown, and her boyfriend was working nights. So I was like, what did you do? I mean, I was talking with her quite a bit during this period of life, but I'm like, what did you do to feel good about yourself in this studio? The first thing she said, which I did this as well, actually, is once a week she would go thrifting. If thrifting is not for you, then you could pick up some other type of hobby. But the fun thing about thrifting is you could go do this by yourself and not feel weird. It's not like I'm saying like go to the movies by yourself or go out to dinner by yourself, because I feel like sometimes people just don't want to do that. It takes some confidence in those areas for some, maybe not so much for others. But thrifting, you could do that by yourself. And for us, for me and Kate, I could go do that all day by myself. And at the end of the day, maybe you spend a little bit of money and you have something fun to add into your home. So it's kind of like this double whammy. Not only are you getting out of the house and going to do something you enjoy, but you're also not spending that much money. And whatever you do spend money on, it's contributing to your space, which again is very important when you're sad and depressed. So she would thrift, and she said she started accumulating all this fun stuff, which actually motivated her to host a little dinner party. She would have these small little gatherings of people that she's met through friends, friends of friends. And actually, 2 of the people that she had over, Dave and Devin, who are 2 of her good friends and some of my good friends now, it turned into like a whole new friendship circle for her just by having the place to host a small little dinner party, a place that she felt good about, all through just pushing herself to go out and thrift. Also, hosting something, whether it's a dinner party or just people over for drinks or coffee or just something small, is really good motivation to have fun with curating your space and setting a mood and, making a fun dish, and really pushes yourself to get people over to your place. And once people are over at your place, you most likely will receive a few confidence boosters because you just thrifted a cool new lamp and someone's going to say, "Hey, love that cool new lamp." And you're going to say, "Whoa, thank you so much. That gave me a little confidence boost. And now I actually like you. And now we're going to be friends." And honestly, I can relate to this deeply because I think there's times where you don't really want to leave your house. You don't want to go out in public, but to push yourself to have a few friends over, host a little gathering, it forces you to be a little bit social without having to go too far from your bed, sadly. And if you start picking up thrifting as a hobby, a lot of times when I felt the loneliest, I would go out and thrift and find some things to collect. It was just a part of the routine. Then you start accumulating things that eventually you could sell at a yard sale. And Kate has done this twice now, where she has accumulated so much through her depression thrifting, we can call it that she was like, okay, I guess I should have a yard sale now. And yard sales are weird because you can meet so many people through just sitting out on your driveway. You can meet all of your neighbors. You can tell friends to stop by. It doesn't feel like a huge commitment to having to hang out with anyone socially, but you're getting little small social aspects through just throwing a yard sale or even just selling things on Craigslist. It's kind of crazy that you can meet people through Facebook Marketplace. I personally know people who have bought things from Facebook Marketplace and then have been friends with the people they bought them from. Some of our friend circle out here actually met through Craigslist through like roommate ads. My roommate from Venice was from Craigslist. So having a yard sale or selling things on Facebook Marketplace all allows you to have very small social interactions that don't feel as stressful because there's not a huge commitment there, and you don't have to be personable or form a relationship with them if you don't want to, but just small little ways, all through selling stuff from your home or buying things for your home. It's a secret little network. It's kind of wild. When it comes to your home and your mental health, there's huge pathways that cross. You spend the most time in your home. You spend a shit ton of time in your bedroom. And if you have roommates, you're also spending a ton of time in your bedroom. So curating these spaces should be number one priority. If you have little moments of feeling good about yourself, you have moments of motivation, put it towards your home for just a little bit. Is it going to cure your depression? No. But I will say, if I'm depressed on my sofa, watching TV, basically you're just laying and your brain says, I can't get up today, you are at least surrounded by things and a space that can make you feel some type of warmth. Again, to reiterate, don't let your home contribute to your sadness. If you're going to be sad, be sad. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes it's a chemical thing. Sometimes it's a situational thing. But the one thing that you can change is the environment you're around. You can't control the people you're around all the time. It's dependent. But the one thing you can control are the walls around you and how those make you feel. I'd be curious to know what you all do in your home to help with this. There's so many little things you can do to not be sad or be less sad. Because let's face it, we're not happy all of the time. We're going to be sad. I'll see you all next week. This was a fun one. I'm starting to be more open on the internet. I don't know. It's an interior design channel, so it's interesting how this all correlates. I need to go inside and crank my heat because I'm chilly. It's so cold out in this garage. All right. Goodbye.